This is going to be a very review-heavy episode of the Chill Spill podcast, as we will be going over all three events that happened in the past weekend, starting off with NXT Takeover 36 that happened last Sunday, Summerslam that happened on Saturday, and AEW Rampage, which happened on Friday. I know it's out of order, but leave me alone. After that, we'll be getting into Dynamite and Rampage previews for this week. And because AEW is going into their 100th Dynamite episode, I'll be doing my own top 10 best AEW Dynamite matches. Anyway, guys, this is the 62nd edition of the Chill Spill podcast. The S is silent, by the way. Yo, what is going on, guys? It is your boy, I almost want to say Tyler Mask, but I kind of already changed the name Tyler Mask on my YouTube channel to Suplex. So that is Suplex on now YouTube and TikTok, SOOPLEX, and Twitch.tv, SOOPLEXX, aka Tyler Kuhn Williams, aka the one who lived. And guys, welcome back to the 62nd edition of the Chill Spill podcast, and that is pill spelled with an S, but it is silent, much like the crowd was not last Friday when we saw the return of CM Punk, which I'll be talking about a little bit later on in the podcast. But guys, this is Chill Spill Podcast. Thank you all for tuning in and listening in. This channel has been doing exceptionally well the last month, this month of August. This has been our best month since last year. So I just want to thank each and every single one of you who have tuned in to a podcast, who have watched a video, who have came into a live stream. If you supported the channel in any way, shape, or form, I just want to give you a big old thank you, because the channel would not be doing as well if it was not for you guys. And it just means the world to me, because, last year, you guys all know, I had the whole thing with TV Asahi. I had my channel deleted for a period of time, and then for multiple months, really for the latter half, I would say, of 2020, my channel was inactive because of the bullshit I was going through with TV Asahi and all the copyright and whatnot. And man, I was down in the dumps for a while. And when I finally got my channel back, it felt good for a while, but then, I wasn't seeing a lot of growth. I was not seeing a lot of growth for the channel because my channel had been going for so long. And mind you guys, my channel was peaking. Well, I can't say it was at its peak because it has not even peaked yet. But my channel was gaining a lot of momentum around the time when it got deleted. July of last year, my channel was doing really well. It's doing as well as it is now as it was in July of last year. And that's when it got deleted. And at the time, I was reviewing New Japan. I was covering AEW. I was talking about I was talking about a lot of shit. I was grinding my ass off. And then it got deleted. And then I kind of took a step back from YouTube for a while, focused on Twitch. But then I wasn't really feeling Twitch, so I came back to YouTube. And that was kind of really the first half of 2020 was just me trying to find my grasp back on YouTube, because I kind of had this trust issue with YouTube, because I had my channel deleted wrongfully. So part of me didn't even want to create content for the platform anymore, because I'm like, well, what happens if what if this happens again? What if this happens again? I have to go through all this again. Is it even worth it? Is it even worth continuing to pursue? And I really debated and struggled with that for, I would say, really the first half of 2020 going into the summer. Do I really want to keep doing YouTube? Do I really want to keep doing this? Because part of me is not really into it right now. I was getting into TikTok, which I'm still doing right now. And I was leading more towards doing other stuff. And YouTube was just kind of it's there. The channel is kind of at a plateau stage. And I really did not know if I wanted to keep doing it. And it wasn't until I would say really May or June of this, the last few months, that I decided, we're going to buckle down and we're going to go into YouTube and I'm going to experiment. This has been a very big experiment. This summer's been a really big experimenting couple months for me, because you guys know the month of June, I had a lot of uploads. I was uploading a lot of different videos. It was reviews. It was topical videos. a lot of stuff, especially in July. There was a lot of topical videos, all that kind of stuff. And then August, like this month, is when I did a lot of stream. Like I've done probably more streaming this month than I've done all year long. Like I've done a lot of streaming this month, and whether it be video games on Tuesdays or just chatting with you guys on certain days, or all watch along streams on weekends. Like we've been having a lot of fun doing these streams. I've been having a lot of fun doing these streams. I've been having more fun than I thought I would have actually doing these streams on both YouTube and Twitch. Actually, my stream yesterday was one of the best streams I ever done on Twitch. It got like 6 followers, a lot of unique chatters, so that it's doing really well it's starting to do well on Twitch, because on Twitch it was really not doing well at all, and I think part of that is because I stream on both Twitch and YouTube, and because a lot of my audience is already on YouTube, there's no reason to go over to Twitch. So it's really only new exposure on Twitch, not exposure to people I already know, which is not a bad thing, but it kind of stunts my growth on another platform. But that's how I choose to do it, because I don't want to inconvenience you guys too much. But listen, like I said, this month has been a very, very, very great month for the channel, and I just plan to keep it going. And it seemed like last month with the uploads, it did very good, but this month with the streaming has been doing great. And I think one of the reasons why I think it's been doing so great is because I have not really, let me not say that. So because I stream like 3 to 4 times a week, it gives me a little bit more time to focus on one video rather than trying to do like 3, 4, 5 videos a week, constantly trying to pump out content. And I feel like when I have more time to focus on just making one video for that week, I have more time to really think and plan out and map out and really, make a better quality video for you guys. Not to say that my videos are low quality, but I have the opportunity to make better quality videos when I have, time to focus on one video outside of 3, 4, or 5. So I think that, and then the streaming, you guys can come in and interact with me, and I have so much fun and a great time interacting with you guys that it's, like I said, I can't say any more great things about it. I just really want to thank you guys in this first portion of the stream of the podcast. So once again, love you guys so much. But with all that out the way, let's now get into the wrestling that we saw this weekend. So we saw 2 WWE shows and 1 AEW show. Now, I was going to originally go in order, but I decided I'm not to, because I want to go into NXT Takeover 36, because that is the latest show that I watched. So, starting from the top, the opening match of Takeover 36 saw Cameron Grimes versus LA Knight. Now, mind you guys, going into this Takeover, I have not watched any NXT episodes leading into the show. Like, none. I haven't seen a single episode of NXT leading into these episodes. So I don't know the build-up for any of these. I don't know. All I know is that most of these wrestlers, if not all, well, not most, all these wrestlers I know. I've seen all these wrestlers wrestle. I've seen a lot of these wrestlers, like, grow as wrestlers in a sense through NXT, before NXT. So I'm not completely out of the loop on any of these guys. I'm just out of the loop on the storylines. And that's really all the thing that I needed to know going into this. And, NXT having the promo packages did help out. But starting off, we had Cameron Grimes versus LA Knight. This match was an alright match. It started off, it was like 10 or so minutes. I think one thing that I really did not like about the match was the finish. And the finish wasn't even bad. It's just kind of I felt like it's a bit of an inconsistency of storytelling that I noticed. I feel like a lot of people really didn't care as much as I did. But here's the thing. So Cameron Grimes was accompanied by Ted DiBiase. Money, 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 money. Yeah, that Ted DiBiase. Ted DiBiase Sr., not Jr. What is Ted DiBiase Jr. up to these days? You guys remember when he was primed to being pushed to be a future WWE champion, and then, like, they just kind of stopped, and then they fired him? Like, that really was his career. But back to what I was saying about Senior over here. He was accompanying Cameron Grimes because part of this match stipulation was that if Cameron Grimes loses, then Ted DiBiase would have to become the butler of LA Knight. Now, mind you, Cameron Grimes is already the servant for LA Knight, so you have 2 servants in Cameron Grimes and Ted DiBiase if he wins the match. And the match itself was good, nothing crazy. But the finish saw LA Knight's on the outside of the ring. Now, mind you, already in this match, he's got like punched in the gut or something by Ted DiBiase, which is like one and done. All right, whatever. Now, referee's distracted by Cameron Grimes. And Ted DiBiase goes outside the ring. He's already outside the ring. LA Knight's outside the ring. And Ted DiBiase locks this man in the $1 Million Dream submission, the Cobra Clutch. He locks him in the $1 Million Dream. And Knight is struggling and struggling. He sends him into the ring. Cameron Grimes stomps this man's lights out with his finishing move. I don't know what it's called, but it's the mushroom stomp. He hits that onto LA Knight and gets the pin to win the match. And he is no longer the servant of LA Knight. And Ted DiBiase now does not have to become LA Knight's servant. And I don't have an issue with Cameron Grimes winning the match. That's not what I have an issue with. The thing I have and I can't even say an issue because I'm not mad at it, but it's just like, that doesn't make too much sense, is the fact that you had Ted DiBiase outside the ring, locking Knight in the Cobra Clutch, sent him into the ring, and Grimes won. It's like, I don't want to say it was a distraction finish, but it basically was a distraction finish. And it was a distraction finish on the side of the baby faces. Like, the babyface, Cameron Grimes, the underdog in this match, needed help from Ted DiBiase to win the match. Like, I felt like saying, like, when you look at it and you think about it that way, like, it really is not a completely justified win. Not a clean, that's not a clean win. I would have rather Cameron Grimes win this match clean than Ted DiBiase interfere, basically, and help Cameron Grimes win the match. Because now, LA Knights can make a case for, oh, well, you cheated, because he cheated. Cameron Grimes technically cheated and needed help to win the match. But that was my nitpick. I don't have the investment level to get pissed about it, but that's something that I noticed that I was not really keen on. But right after that match, we have Raquel Gonzalez versus Dakota Kai for the NXT Women's Championship. I was not super excited for this match, but I am a fairly big fan of Dakota Kai. I've been watching her whole NXT career since 2017, and I always saw potential in her. Always saw NXT Women's Champions potential in her. And I always kind of saw her as like the Bayley of NXT. You know, when she came in, Bayley, I believe, had already left. But she had that Bayley energy to her, like the theme song, which not her theme song now, but her previous, like her first theme song when she came in. It was very happy-go-lucky, cheery, you know. It made you get hyped for her, and she had that smile and her energy, the way she wrestled, the way she would be able to sell for her opponents and make that comeback. Like I said, it emanated a lot of Bayley energy from me, babyface Bayley energy, and it made me want to see her win. And the thing about Dakota Kai's character, much like Bayley, is that Dakota Kai would lose her big opportunities. But then, as time went on, it just really became Dakota Kai losing a lot. Like, she just didn't even lose the big opportunities. She would just lose, and then that was kind of it. She would just lose. Now, as you got deeper into her and you progress, she became I wouldn't say a pivotal part of NXT, but she did end up becoming, you know, a bigger character once you wiped out a lot of the women that they had. You know, they took Bianca Belair away, they took Rhea Ripley away, so they kind of had to elevate Dakota Kai. And last year, Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox were teaming up with each other. You guys know I was a really big fan of that team when I was watching NXT. And they broke up. And I'm like, God damn, like, I was actually kind of mad because Dakota Kai turned heel, and I always liked Dakota Kai. And when she turned heel, that led into the match at NXT Takeover. I want to say it was Phoenix? Takeover Phoenix? Not Phoenix. Takeover Portland. Takeover Portland last February. They had their singles match. That's when we saw Raquel Gonzalez return to NXT as the backup for Dakota Kai. And Dakota Kai actually won that match. And as you guys know, the story goes, Tegan Nox went to main roster. Dakota Kai stayed at NXT. But for most of 2020, if not, I would say all of 2020, don't quote me on that, Dakota Kai was basically the main star of this team, and Raquel Gonzalez was basically her backup. She was her bodyguard in a sense. And then I want to say, it was either the very end of this year or the very end of last year, the beginning of this year is when that shifted. And Raquel Gonzalez became the main focus of the team. And Dakota Kai just kind of fell into the background. Because Dakota Kai, she's about, a foot less than Raquel Gonzalez. So she can't be the backup for Raquel. Raquel's already has her own backup. So Dakota Kai kind of just fell into the background as, oh, that's Raquel's little sister. That's the person that Raquel's carrying around with her. She's, boosting her up during matches, before matches. But that's really her only role, her only purpose. Because they did not win the tag team championships as far as I know. And then Raquel ended up beating Rhea Ripley. She became the women's champion first. And once Raquel beat Rhea Ripley to become the women's champion, I knew at some point Dakota and Raquel were going to feud. Because how is Dakota okay with the fact that this ended up starting off as Dakota and Raquel show, and now it's the Raquel and Dakota show? And now she's the champion. She beat Dakota to the punch, and she was in NXT for much less time. Like, it's going to be a feud at some point, but I don't know how they're going to execute it because Dakota Kai is smaller than Raquel is. And you only really could pull this feud off if Dakota Kai turns on her. Now, you obviously could do Raquel turning on Dakota, but Dakota is the one that would be jealous. Raquel really would have no reason to turn other than to be like, all right, peasant, I'm done with you. But even then, it's like, I don't know. I felt like it's only right for Dakota to turn heel. And she did, and we led into this match. The match itself was good. It was nothing too crazy, much like the last match. I've seen better matches from Dakota. I mean, this might have been Raquel's better singles matches I've seen of her, outside of her Rhea Ripley singles match. But Raquel Gonzalez did win the match with a middle rope one-handed choke slam onto Dakota Kai and got the pin. I did find it very interesting because it's not very often we see I said this initially. I was saying it's not too often where you see matches where David and Goliath roles are switched, because usually David is the babyface and Goliath is the heel. The big guy is trying to beat down the underdog. In this role, Goliath is the babyface and David is the heel. Dakota is much smaller than Raquel, yet she's the heel in the match. So I'm like, how are they going to really play this out? Because the last time I could think about there being a role reversal in the David Goliath battle was Andrade Cien Almas versus Drew McIntyre from NXT Takeover Brooklyn 3. Or was it Brooklyn 3? It was either Brooklyn 3 or sometime in 2017. But even then, you can make the case that, Andrade is not really that much smaller than Drew McIntyre is. Like, Andrade is like maybe 6'1" and Drew's like 6'5". Raquel's like almost 6 feet and Dakota's like 5 foot, maybe 3. Like, there's a whole 7 foot difference. 7 feet. 7 inch difference between the two. And on top of that, Raquel, she's a built woman, and Dakota is much thinner. So like it's almost unbelievable if you look at them in comparison that Dakota would win the match. So it's like, how are they really gonna try and make this match work? And I felt like the way the match was kind of focused is that Dakota kind of found a body point at a target point at one point, but Raquel still beat her down for a good portion of the match. Not a good, but she beat her down for, I would say, a fair amount of this match. And I'm like, I'm so used to seeing Dakota in that role getting beat down that I'm used to it. But I'm like, she's the heel. You really shouldn't be beating down the heel like that. And then when she won, I'm like, well, damn, I felt like Dakota really didn't gain much from this match. I felt like by the end, Dakota just felt like another opponent for her. Like, it really didn't feel like a big deal that Raquel beat her, because it's like not many people were really betting on Dakota to win. Now, some people were. I wanted Dakota to win, but I didn't bet on her to win because it's Dakota, and Dakota's a loser. And this only confirmed it. Dakota Kai is a bona fide loser. And it really sucks because I really feel like Dakota Kai is much better than that, and she can be treated much better than that. But that's really her role in NXT. Now, the question I feel like that's got to be asked here is what's left for Dakota Kai beyond this point? Because now that her and Raquel are broken up and she already lost, what does Dakota do? I mean, who's on the roster to feud with her? She's the heel. And she already lost to the top babyface. She's been NXT for 4 years. I feel like the only other option is for her to go to Raw or SmackDown. But if y'all think that Dakota Kai is going to be treated better on SmackDown than she is on NXT, then you're in for a very rude awakening. Because like I said earlier, though Dakota Kai is pushed very well, and I wouldn't never say she's been buried on NXT television, she's always been seen as kind of a loser. Like, she never wins anything very meaningful on NXT. And if she did, it was with help. So you take a bona fide loser and you put her on a roster where most people who come from your home turf are treated as losers. Like, she's just going to be treated much worse on the main roster. So honestly, if I'm Dakota Kai, I don't know how much time is left on her contract. I'm looking for the exit door. There ain't much left for her in NXT. And I would have never said this 2-3 years ago that I want to see Dakota Kai leave NXT. But what is there for her to do if she ain't going to win anything? This is maybe her second or third time competing for the NXT Women's Championship. I don't know how many other times she could compete for it and lose if they're not going to actually push her to a level where she seems like a credible wrestler, because she just really isn't. And it really sucks because I do care for Dakota Kai and I really do want to see her succeed. And once again, it's not like they're burying her. I do not want to say they're burying Dakota Kai because she's never been treated in a sense where I believe that she is much like that, you know, she's been looked at as a jobber or anything, but she just doesn't win. So at this point, it's like, I think she might be better off somewhere else because her only other option is main roster, and that's not a good option. So I think her better option is leaving. I think when we get to a next round of cuts, if they cut Dakota Kai, I'd be upset, but at the same time, I'd be happy for her. After that, we get into Elia Draganov versus Volta for the NXT UK Championship. This was a fucking phenomenal match. A phenomenal, amazing, tremendous match that you could argue was better than the last match. I would say it was better than the last match. And here's the thing I love about this match so much, is that this felt so different from the last match. It felt like it was actually two different matches. Because that's kind of the thing you run into with a lot of wrestlers, is that when they have great chemistry with somebody, they can have a lot of matches. But at some point, it feels like they had the same match already. Like one feud I could talk about that many of you may not agree with, and some of you may give me hate for, but Hiroshi Tanaashi versus Kazuchiko Kada in New Japan. They have one of the greatest feuds of all time, bar none. They've had about 11 or 12 matches, and all of them are great. And most of them are all-time classics, if you ask anybody. All of them might be all-time classics if you ask the right person. However, if you ask me, who've seen, I want to say maybe 8 of the 11 matches they've had, just about all their matches feel the exact same. There's not too much that differentiates one match from the last when you watch their matches. Yes, they're great, but they have the same match every time, I feel like. And here, and I've seen about 5 Elia versus Volta matches because prior to their NXT runs, I've watched both of their careers, mainly Elia, but I've watched both of their careers, and I've seen them face off like twice in WXW, and I want to say they faced off once in, what was the company of Progress Wrestling. So I've seen 3 of their matches before. The NXT UK match was the 4th one I saw. Then the 5th one I saw was a takeover match. So I'm like, I already seen them wrestle 4 times. How much more different can this be than the last few matches? And it felt like oh man, I can't get too deep into it because I'm working on a video based on this match. So I don't want to talk too much about it, but I'll just leave it at it was a fucking amazing match. The Elia Dragunov won. Many people were debating on if Elia would win this match, and rightfully so, because Volta's been champion for 870 days and has beaten everybody credible on NXT UK and Tommaso Ciampa. So it's like, if Volta wins, who's left? What is left? He's already been champion for 2 years, over 2 years. I think there's no better time than the present, because if he beats Elia, I don't know who beats him. This is the only person left. And Elia was the one to do it. He's our new NXT UK champion. I was on cloud 9, like many of you. I checked Cage Match a few days ago. I haven't checked it in a while, in maybe a few hours. But last time I checked Cage Match, this match had 385 votes, which is one of the fastest rising matches on the entire website. I've never seen a match
that got voted on so many times in so little time. Like there's like look at the all-time greats on cagematch.net. Go look at them. Go look at them. Ratings wise, votes wise, I should say. You look at Okada versus Kenny Omega, the first match, 745 votes. You look at John Cena versus CM Punk from Money in the Bank, 637 votes. Then you go down to, let's say, Andrade Cien Almas versus Johnny Gargano, 592 votes. The common trend is a lot of those matches have years on them. Many years. But then you go down to Elia Draganov versus Volta, a match that happened 3 days ago, has 426 votes. Already has 426 votes. The only match that is from this year with more votes than it is Daniel Bryan versus Edge versus Roman Reigns. But that match happened about 6 months ago. Almost 6 months. 4 months ago. This match happened 3 days ago. And it has 400 votes. And it is at 9.69 in the top 30 highest rated matches of all time. So that is an all-time classic on your hands right there. Based off of other fan opinions. If you ask me, it is an all-time classic. I put that up there with a lot of the greatest matches I've ever seen. I don't know where it ranks in my top 10 list. I've only seen it one time. But it's an all-time classic. And I'll talk more about it in another video. Let's move on to the rest of the card. We have Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole. I thought this was a really good match, but I hated the finish. So the first fall, because it was a 2 out of 3 falls match. First fall, Kyle O'Reilly won by reversing Adam Cole's Panorama Sunrise mid-flight into a victory roll. Now, he got this pin like maybe 4 minutes in. It was a nothing fall. Like they just got it out the way. And I didn't like the first fall at all. The second fall was the street fight. This is where it really started to amp up. They got about 15 minutes. Adam Cole was targeting the midsection of Kyle O'Reilly. Started off that by sending him midsection first underneath the bottom rope into this ring post, which was crazy. I don't remember ever seeing that spot. And if I have seen it, it's been an extremely long time since I've seen it. And from there on, Adam Cole was just punching and kicking and using chairs on it. At one point, sending Kyle O'Reilly off the top rope onto a pile, like 2 chairs standing up. And Kyle O'Reilly, he wiped out on these chairs, bro. Like, he straight up just crashed on it. I got concerned for a second on that landing. And right after that landing, Adam Cole followed it up for the last shot and got the pin, getting the second fall. And then from there, they got into the third fall, which was a steel cage match. Before the steel cage could even lower all the way, you had Adam Cole beating down Kyle O'Reilly outside the ring, sending him into the announce table, sending him into the announce table, into the barricade. He was just beating him down. Now, you got into the ring. They're having a match. About, I want to say maybe 10 extra minutes. Beating each other down. Cole's getting the offense. Even goes as far as to cuff O'Reilly to the goddamn rope. So Kyle O'Reilly can't move. Cuffed him down, right? Kyle O'Reilly, at one point, Cole's kicking his ass, goes for a boot. O'Reilly grabs his foot and locks him in an Achilles tendon lock. Now, mind you, O'Reilly's been targeting Cole's leg for some of this match, but not even nearly half of this match was he targeting Cole's leg for you to really even notice that, oh, he could tap out here. O'Reilly has been getting his midsection obliterated. Meanwhile, Cole's leg, he probably could still walk on it. You know what I mean? So he locks in the Achilles tendon lock. I'm like, oh man, what's next? And then 10 seconds later, Cole taps out. And I was like, huh? That's the end of the match? Like, it wasn't even like the match before the ending was bad. But the finish just felt very lazy because it's like, I knew both of y'all are capable of something better than this. I know both of y'all were capable of something way better than this finish. It just felt lazy. Like, y'all could have done... Y'all ain't had to go out for another 10, 15 minutes after that spot. But y'all could have... Cole could have grabbed a chair and whacked him in the face and went for something else. And maybe he could have found a key. Like, I don't know. I can't map out how it would have went. But I felt like this was just way too lazy. Especially considering that, once again, Cole's leg was not really targeted that heavily. to constitute a tap out. But O'Reilly won with a tap out victory, and Cole was helped to the back by officials. No dramatic goodbye, no pandering to the crowd, no clap. He just got walked to the back, never to be seen again. Apparently, reports are going out now that Adam Cole is virtually done with the NXT brand. His contract's coming up at the end of the week. I'm guessing that means Friday his contract is up. He is not re-signed with WWE as far as we know, and he cannot start contract negotiations with other places until his contract is officially up. Question is, where is he going, or is he staying? If he's staying, it's not on the NXT brand because they wrote him off. He's done. If he stays, he's going to SmackDown or Raw. Now, I don't know how much money they're going to offer him. Probably a lot. I'm pretty sure from what I heard, he had a meeting with Vince McMahon a few weeks ago. I'm sure that probably had a lot of money lobbed at him. But he did not resign. At least not yet. Do I think he will resign? I hope not. I know that he can be treated much better outside of WWE. Now, here's the thing. I will not at all lie to you and say that Adam Cole was Barry, Adam Cole was this, Adam Cole was that. Adam Cole had one of the best runs in NXT of any NXT wrestler I've seen. Like one of, not the best, but one of the best runs in NXT I've ever seen. This man, from the first day he came in, was introduced with a faction, the Undisputed Era, which became the greatest faction in NXT history. Bar none. The greatest faction in NXT history. They had a 4-year run, because from 2017 to 2021 was 4 years. They had a 4-year run where they won every championship and at one point held every championship. Adam Cole, in that period of time, main evented several takeovers, had several great matches, several great feuds. At one point, was the NXT champion, was the NXT North American champion, and if I'm correct, I also believe he held the NXT Tag Team Championships via the Freebird rule. So he's already won every NXT championship. He's already main evented NXT takeovers. He's already feuded with everybody there is to feud with in NXT. There was nothing left for him. There was nothing left on the table for Adam Cole in this brand. So if he resigns, he's done. He's not going back. He's going to SmackDown or Raw. And I don't feel like they're going to treat him better than he was treated on NXT. And if that's the case, then he should grab and go. Now you could say, oh, where's the loyalty? And yeah, you can make an argument that, okay, Adam Cole was treated so well, he shouldn't leave like that. But that's when you get into the conversation of, if you know there is nothing better for you on the other side, why stay? You've already peaked. Time for something new. What happened to a fresh start? There's a lot of people who are really trying to gang on the fact that Adam Cole should stay because he was treated so well in NXT. And yeah, I agree. But look at the track record of all the NXT wrestlers who were treated well in NXT and got treated like dog shit on main roster. I could list you probably 20 wrestlers off the top of my head, but I'm not going to do that for you. You can look on your own. Look on the main roster and tell me all the NXT wrestlers you see who are not treated like, royalty. Adam Cole, I feel like, could become one of those wrestlers. I can't guarantee you he will, because if he had a meeting with Vince McMahon and he got dealt a lot of money, then maybe they might give him a good run. But Adam Cole, his biggest flaw to them is his height. He's 5'8", 5'10". He is not very tall. He is not going to be treated all that well the way that many people think he will be. His time in WWE should be done because he is not going to be treated any better than he already was. When you've already reached the top, the only place you can go is down. And that's where I feel like Adam Cole is going to go if he stays in NXT. I mean, if he stays in WWE. He's just going to go down from here. So why go down when you could jump ship somewhere else and probably stay in the same spot you were similarly in, probably make better money, and then keep going up, but on a different platform? Like, let's go back to something that happens in real life, okay? Let's talk about Ninja. Ninja, if you're into streaming. Ninja was one of the best streamers on Twitch. He was one of the greatest streamers on Twitch in terms of viewership. He was highly promoted. I mean, I remember there were reports of time where he would get, like, basically top promotion streams every single day. This guy's bringing in 25,000 people every single stream, making millions and millions of dollars every single week. But then he got offered a shitload of money by Mixer. What was it, like $80 million? Hold on, what was it? Ninja Mixer. This dude got offered an insane amount of money. Okay, so this guy, Ninja, a Twitch streamer, got offered a multi-year contract by Mixer, which was another streaming platform owned by Microsoft, for $30 million. Let me repeat that for you again. $30 million. This guy was offered by Mixer. And you want to know what he did? He signed with Mixer. He said bye Twitch, which was his home turf, which is where his fans were, and he went over to Mixer. Not because he hates Twitch and fuck Twitch and da-da-da-da-da, they didn't treat me right, da-da-da-da-da. Not because of that, but because he already peaked on Twitch. There's not really much else he can go. There's not much more growth. I mean, there's probably more growth in terms of, getting different deals and different brand deals. But as far as growth on Twitch, when you're already at the top, there ain't no other place you can go but down. So he said, okay, there's more money being made over here, and I can grow to the top on this platform too. So he took his ball and he went to Mixer. And you want to know what happened on Mixer? The platform went down. Now, he still remained number one. I still remember when I was on Mixer trying to stream on there, every day I got a notification that Ninja is streaming. I'm like, I really don't watch Ninja. I don't care. But I got a notification every day that Ninja was streaming. So imagine Adam Cole in AEW. Adam Cole can get offered more money, get a similar deal, a better deal possibly, and he can rise to the top. Why not take that? And yes, you could say, oh yeah, Ninja, the Mixer fell behind, they went defunct. But guess what happened to Ninja after it went defunct? Not only did his contract still get paid out, he still made $30 million, but he went right back to Twitch. He went right back to Twitch with open arms. I'm pretty sure there's probably some animosity still there because he left. But he still made his money, he made his bread, and he went back to Twitch. Who's to say Adam Cole doesn't leave WWE for a minute, go to AEW, make his money, and go back to WWE? He's only 32 years old. Nobody said he's got to be a lifer in AEW. What if he just leaves for a bit, goes to AEW, comes back? Think about it that way. I feel like some fans think about it from a fan standpoint and not from a logistical standpoint. Adam Cole should leave. That's where I stand at. The main event of the show was Karrion Kross versus Samoa Joe. This is also a good match. I would say it was the best Karrion Kross match I've seen in his NXT run, which Samoa Joe won with a 5-year-long defunct move, the Muscle Buster. That popped the hell out of me because last time we saw that move, he permanently injured Tyson Kidd. So we never thought we'd see that move ever again. But he busted it out to beat Karrion Kross, and it felt like the right time and the right person to do it on, and he won the match. And Samoa Joe is now a 3-time NXT champion. I could not be any happier for the guy. You know, this guy's been gone from the wrestling ring for a year and a half, and now he's back and he's NXT champion. And it kind of does beg the question as to what is NXT really doing, because you look at how they've been doing their NXT champions since they've come back. Yeah, Adam Cole was a champion, but Finn Balor was the NXT champion who was already on the main roster. He went back to NXT, held the NXT championship for a while, to get beat by Karrion Kross. And then, right after Karrion Kross, it went back to another guy who was already on the main roster in Samoa Joe. So, I don't really feel like you're building a lot of new stars when you're relying on guys from Raw and SmackDown to carry your brand. That's kind of my issue with NXT as well. You're talking about building this next gen. They're talking about revamping and overhauling NXT and, you know, starting from scratch with these newer guys. How are you going to do that when you got Samoa Joe, who's 41, 42? And this is not a knock at all on Samoa Joe. I love Samoa Joe. But you got 41, 42, 43-year-old Samoa Joe, who's been NXT champion twice already in 2016, coming back to be NXT champion. That's nice and all. But if Samoa Joe has a a year-long reign, what are you accomplishing exactly? Because Finn Balor had a lengthy reign. I think Finn Balor was champion for what, like 6, 7, 8 months? Samoa Joe, I'm not saying, he should drop the title next week, but I feel like Samoa Joe should be a transitional champion. I feel like Samoa Joe should drop that title. Maybe not the next fucking takeover. I'm not saying that fucking quickly. But like maybe by like WrestleMania weekend, I think he should be done. Maybe even Royal weekend he should be done. I don't know, bro. I feel like y'all they just take 2 steps back with Samoa Joe being the NXT champion, but that's me personally. I'm done talking about NXT. Let's talk about SummerSlam and a little bit I saw about that show. So, you guys already know I turned off the show midway through. And for good reason. Number one, the first half of the show was not even that much to brag about. They start off with RK Bro, Randy Orton and Matt Riddle versus AJ Styles and Omos. Now, the match itself was really okay. It was an okay match. RK Bro won. They're the new Raw Tag Team Champions. All right. Right after that match, you got into Alexa Bliss versus Eva Marie, which was fucking bad. It was a bad match. Eva Marie was on the rope taunting and slapping around Alexa Bliss's doll, Lily. I can't believe this Lily bullshit is still going on. It's been basically since the beginning of the year when she allied herself with Bray Wyatt. She's still basically the fiend Alexa Bliss at this point. And now you have Eva Marie who's in here, a terrible wrestler, in here with Alexa Bliss, who's not really a great wrestler. It was never going to be a really good match. This was a throwaway bad match to happen. Alexa Bliss won. Eva Marie lost the match, and Doudrop got on a microphone and said, "The loser of this match, Eva Marie." And then she took her jacket and taunted her and walked away. So it looks like Doudrop has finally dropped Eva Marie. I'm happy for Piper Niven because she's way better than the gimmick they gave her. WWE 2K22, they showed a trailer for it. Showed some good graphics. They showed some moves I've already seen, some entries I've already seen, so that's not impressive. March 2022 is when the game comes out. Oh boy. I'll talk about that in another video, honestly. We had the United States Championship defended. Sheamus went up against Damian Priest. This was probably the best match I've seen of the half of the show that I saw. They had a really good match on Raw last month, and this was a good match in here. And Damian Priest won with the Crossroads. He's the new U.S. champion. Happy for the boy. Happy for the guy. We had the SmackDown Tag Team Championships as the Usos went 2-on-2 against the Mysterios. A rematch from the last pay-per-view we just saw. This match was okay as well. Like, nothing special. And the Usos retained the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, which begged the question as to why they even did the second match in the first place on SmackDown or wherever the hell they did it. If the Mysterios weren't going to get back at SummerSlam, I don't know. But then we got to the match that set me off the goddamn deep end. And that was Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks, which never even happened. Even though this show, this company promoted this match for a month and then went all the way into this show, still promoting the match as if it was going to happen on the fucking show. Then when it came match time and Bianca Belair's already out to the ring, they announced that Sasha Banks could not compete. And I'm like, why would y'all even do this? Well, I know cards subject to change, but if y'all knew, because a report came out that they knew as early as 8 days before SummerSlam that Sasha Banks would not be available, why would y'all wait until the minute of to tell the fans that Sasha Banks would not be there? I would have been fucking livid if I were there and I was excited for Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair and I didn't hear anything about these reports and Sasha Banks could not be there. And then I heard they knew about it and still didn't tell me. They don't like their fucking fans. But then after that, her replacement was Carmella. Carmella comes out, low reaction, fans don't care. Hops into the ring. Becky Lynch comes out. Fans erupt in cheers. They're going crazy. And Bianca Belair, she's hyped. She's not scared. She's hyped. She's like, all right, I got a new opponent. This is cool. This is cool. Becky gets into the ring. She wipes out Carmella. She challenges Bianca. Bianca accepts. The bell rings. They're circling each other. Becky punches Bianca in the face, hits her with a rock bottom, and pins her. And Becky Lynch is like that. 15 seconds, your new SmackDown Women's Champion. Now, I already did my rant on this video. I'm not going to do it again. Go watch my video. It's on the channel. It's one of the best performing videos I've done in a while. Go watch the video I did where I quit WWE because of this match. This match made me give up on the promotion entirely. I'm so done with this company. I'm not watching Raw, SmackDown, NXT, nothing. I'm not watching any clips on YouTube. I'm done. I'm over it. I can say that I did kind of cheat a little bit and did watch John Cena versus Roman Reigns. That match was good. Really good. I did see after the match that Brock Lesnar came out, and now they're teasing Brock and Roman probably for the next Saudi Arabia show happening in October. I mean, Brock's probably going to win because I don't really know who else Roman's going to lose that championship to. But I don't care. That was SummerSlam. AEW Rampage, the first dance, happened on Friday. And the show started off with what the fans have been begging and waiting for 7 years. And that was the AEW debut in the professional wrestling return of CM Punk to one of the greatest crowd pops I've ever heard in my entire life. This arena bursted through the roof with the reaction they gave CM Punk. I can't even describe into words how excited I was to see CM Punk, man. CM Punk's my second all-time favorite wrestler behind Chris Jericho. I've been watching his entire wrestling career in WWE. I did not watch his ROH run in 2005, none of that. But I watched his entire WWE run. When he left, I was disappointed. And for 2-3 years, I wanted him to come back. I gave up on that idea like in 2017 when he didn't come back after 3 years, but a lot of fans didn't give up on it. And every year you would hear CM Punk on his way back, CM Punk, da-da-da, and he would never come back. This time, he did. This time, he actually did come back. The fans rejoiced, and he got into the ring, and he didn't say too much. But he said how in 2005, he left pro wrestling, and in 2021, he's back. Basically, he didn't mention WWE in this promo, but he all but ignored them and said that they're not pro wrestling. They're sports entertainment, which they are. They don't even acknowledge themselves as professional wrestling. They're sports entertainment. So I don't know how some people saw that as a knock on WWE because it's the truth. They don't want to identify as pro wrestling. He didn't lie. But after this promo, after that point, he pointed out Darby Allin, who was in the rafters with Sting. And he said, "You're a dangerous kid, but there's nothing more dangerous than facing CM Punk at All Out in Chicago on pay-per-view." So it's official. CM Punk will face Darby Allin one-on-one at All Out. His first match in a wrestling ring in 7 years. I am so amped for that match. It's going to be great. And that really, you could have ended the show right there, and I feel like fans would have went home, and they wouldn't have even complained about there being no other matches on the show. But we did have 3 matches. Jurassic Express versus Private Party. Semifinals of the AEW Tag Team Eliminator Tournament. This is a good match. I felt like following the CM Punk segment, I felt like it was a little hard to get into it, but it was good. Jurassic Express won with the assisted powerbomb tag team move they do, which is so dope. They will be facing the Varsity Blondes, either the Varsity Blondes or the Lucha Bros, on the next week's edition of AEW Rampage, where the winners of that match will face the Young Bucks for the Tag Team Championships at All Out. After that, we had Jade Cargill versus Kiera Hogan. This was a 1-minute squash match for Jade Cargill. Nothing to talk about here. And then the main event was Jon Moxley versus Danny Garcia. This is a 4-minute match, but Danny Garcia really showcased to me his technical prowess against Jon Moxley. They had a good 4-minute match. That Jon Moxley won the paradigm shift. Afterwards, 2.0 came out to attack Jon Moxley. He came to his aid by Sting, Darby, and Eddie Kingston to end out the show. Rampage was great. If for nothing else, the CM Punk return. But Rampage was great. AEW Dynamite is approaching their 100th episode this week, which they're not making a big deal out of, but I will make a big deal out of it. And I made a top 10 list of my favorite AEW Dynamite matches. Now, this is not a video, so I'm not going to go too in-depth as to why, but I'm just going to run down it. At number 10, I have MJF versus Sami Guevara on the June 30th edition 2021 of AEW Dynamite. Really good match, even though I hated the middle rope tombstone spot from Sami Guevara that MJF kicked out of. It was a really good match. I enjoyed it. Number 9, Kenny Omega and Hangman Page versus SCU for the AEW World Tag Team Championships on the January 19th edition, 2020. Number 8, Kenny Omega versus Jungle Boy for the AEW World Championship on the June 26, 2021 edition of AEW Dynamite. Hold on, let me take a drink of water real quick. I'm stuttering and staying, but I've been talking for too long. Number 7, Jon Moxley versus Darby Allin for the AEW World Championship on the August 5th, 2021 edition of AEW Dynamite. Number 6, Kenny Omega and Hangman Page versus the Lucha Bros on the February 19th, 2020 edition of AEW Dynamite. Number 5, the Young Bucks versus Private Party on the October 9th, 2019 edition of AEW Dynamite. This was their second Dynamite ever. The opening match was tremendous. Number 4, Chris Jericho and Sami Guevara versus Kenny Omega and Matt Hardy in a tag team street fight on the May 6th edition 2020 of AEW Dynamite. One of the most fun matches I've ever seen. Number 3, Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa in a lights out match on the March 17th 2020 edition of AEW Dynamite. One of my favorite women's matches of all time. Number 2, Mr. Brody Lee versus Cody Rhodes in a dog collar match on the October 7th edition 2020 of AEW Dynamite. Brody Lee's final match, and in my opinion, one of the best AEW matches ever, but not before number 1, which in my opinion still is the greatest match in AEW Dynamite history, and that is Kenny Omega versus Pac in a 30-minute Iron Man match for the rights to be the GOATs. I mean, not the last half, but it was a great match. And it was on the February 26, 2020 edition of AEW Dynamite. And those are my top 10 matches from AEW Dynamite. Let's now get into some previews for both Dynamite and Rampage this week. AEW Dynamite 100, I talked about it just a minute ago, and we hop right straight back into these previews, brother. So we have Malachi Black going one-on-one with Brock Anderson. This is going to be easy squash for Malachi Black. Brock Anderson is still very new, the son of Arn Anderson. This all stems from Malachi Black's debut in AEW, knocking out Arn Anderson. So Brock wants some revenge, which I understand it, but Malachi Black is winning this. After that, you have Jamie Hayter versus Red Velvet. Jamie Hayter's return match to AEW Dynamite should be really good. I believe Jamie Hayter is going to win. We have Billy Austin and Colton Gunn, the Gun Club, versus the Nightmare Factory, Aaron Solo, Nick Comoroto, and QT Marshall. I'm going to go with the Nightmare Factory. That's going to segue into QT Marshall and Paul White having their match All Out. I don't really care for QT Marshall, much as many people don't, but I guess this is going to happen. We have Darby Allin, Eddie Kingston, and Jon Moxley versus Cesar Bonini, JD Drake, and Ryan Nemeth. Not gonna lie, I kind of would have preferred a rematch between Darby, Eddie, and Jon Moxley versus 2.0 and Danny Garcia. There's not too often AEW does rematches, but I wouldn't have minded that one. This one is almost way too easy to guess who's gonna win, and it's obviously gonna be Darby, Eddie, and Jon Moxley. After that, you have Matt Hardy versus Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy gets a W, and then I don't think it's gonna be the main event, but it could be. You had the Lucha Bros versus the Varsity Blondes in the AEW semifinal eliminator tag team tournament. Winners face Jurassic Express on AEW Rampage. I'm gonna go with the Lucha Bros to win that one. And then AEW Rampage this week. Only one match has been advertised so far. More matches to come. Probably only two or one more. But I'm going to say it's Jurassic Express versus the Lucha Bros for the finals of the AEW Eliminator Tag Team Tournament, which I will take a wild gander that the Lucha Bros will win that match and will face the Young Bucks at All Out for the Tag Team Championships in a rematch from All Out 2019. And guys, that is my review. That is my predictions. That is Chillspo Podcast episode 62. What did you guys think? Comment down below. Let your boy know. I love you as always, and I will see you all later. Peace out, guys.